Dante's Inferno, Canto 25. Vanafucci's punishment, Agnello Brunelleschi, Busso degli Abati, Puccio Sciancato, Scianfa de Donati, and Guercio Cavalcante. At the conclusion of his words, the thief lifted his hands aloft with both the figs, crying, "Take that, God, for at thee I aim them." From that time forth the serpents were my friends, for one entwined itself about his neck as if it said, "I will not thou speak more," and round his arms another, and rebound him, clinching itself together so in front that with them he could not a motion make. "Pistoia, Pistoia, why resolve not to burn thyself to ashes, and so perish, since in ill doing thou eat excellence?" Through all the sombre circles of this hell, spirit I saw not against God so proud, not he who fell at Thebes down from the walls. He fled away and spake no further word, and I beheld a centaur full of rage come crying out, where is the scoffer? I do not think Merima has so many serpents as he had all along his back, as far as where our countenance begins. Upon the shoulders, just behind the nape, with wings wide open, was a dragon lying, and he sets fire to all that he encounters. My master said, "That one is Cacus, who beneath the rock upon Mount Aventine created oftentimes a lake of blood. He goes not on the same road with his brothers, by reason of the fraudulent theft he made of the great herd, which he had near to him. Whereat his torturous actions ceased beneath the mace of Hercules, who peradventure gave him 100, and he felt not 10. While he was speaking thus, he had passed by, and spirits 3 had underneath us come, of which nor aware I was, nor my leader, until what time they shouted, "Who are you?" On which account our story made a halt, and then we were intent on them alone. I did not know them, but it came to pass, as it is wont to happen by some chance, that one to name the other was compelled, exclaiming, "Where can Chiaffa have remained?" Whence I, so that the leader might attend, upward from chin to nose my finger laid. If thou art reader, slow now to believe what I shall say, it will no marvel be, for I who saw it hardly can admit it. As I was beholding raised on them my brows, behold, a serpent with 6 feet darts forth in front of one, fastens wholly on him. With middle feet it bound him round the paunch, and with the forward ones his arms it seized, then thrust its teeth through one cheek and the other. The hindermost it stretched upon his thighs, and put its tail through in between the two, and up behind along the reins outspread it. Ivy was never fastened by its barbs unto a tree so, as this horrible reptile upon the other's limbs entwined its own. They then stuck close, as if of heated wax they had been made, and intermixed their colour, nor one nor other seemed now what he was. E'en as proceedeth on before the flame upward along the paper a brown colour, which is not black as yet, and the white dies. The other 2 looked on, and each of them cried out, "O me, Agnello, how thou changest! Behold, thou now art neither 2 nor 1. Already the 2 heads had become one, when there had appeared to us 2 figures mingled into one face, wherein the 2 were lost. Of the 4 list were fashioned the 2 arms, the thighs and legs, the belly and the chest. Members became that never yet were seen. Every original aspect there was cancelled. 2, and yet none did the perverted image appear, and such departed with slow pace. Even as a lizard under the great scourge of day's cornicular exchanging hedge, lightning appeareth if the road it cross, thus did appear, coming towards the bellies of the 2 others, a small fiery serpent, livid and black as is a peppercorn, and in that part where it is first received our element. One of them transfixed, then downward fell in front of him, extended. The one transfixed looked at it, but said not. Nay, rather with feet motionless he yawned, just as if sleep or fever had assailed him. He at the serpent gazed, and it at him, one through the wound, the other through the mouth, smoked violently, and the smoke commingled. Henceforth be silent, Lucan, where he mentions wretched Sebulus and Assidius, and wait to hear what now shall be shot forth. Be silent, Ovid, of Cadmus of Arethusa, for if him to a snake, her to fountain, converts he fabling that I grudge him not, because two natures never front to front has he transmuted, so that both the forms to interchange their matter ready were. Together they responded in such wise that to a fork the serpent clapped his tail, and eke the wounded drew his feet together. The legs, together with the thighs themselves, adhered so that in a little time the juncture no sign whatever made that was apparent. He with cloven tail assumed the figure the other one was losing, and his skin became elastic and the other's hard. I saw the arms draw inward at the armpits, and both feet of the reptile that were short lengthen as much as those contracted were. Thereafter the hind feet together twisted became the member that a man conceals, and of his own the wretch had two created, while both of them the exhalation bells with a new color and engenders hair on one of them and depilates the other. The one uprose and down the other fell, though turning not away their impious lamps, underneath which each one his muzzle changed. He who was standing drew it towards the temples, and from excess of matter which came thither issued the ears from out the hollow cheeks. What did not backward run and was retained of that excess made to the face a nose, and the lips thickened far as was befitting. He who lay prostrate thrust his muzzle forward, and backward draws the ears into his head, in the same manner as the snail its horns. And so the tongue, which was entire and apt for speech before, is cleft, and the biforked and the other closes up, and the smoke ceases. The soul, which to a reptile had been changed, along the valley hissing takes to flight, and after him the other speaking sputters. Then did he turn upon him his new shoulders, and said to the other, I'll have Buoso run, crawling as I have done along this road. In this way I beheld the seventh ballast shift and reshift, and here be my excuse, the novelty, if aught my pen transgress. And notwithstanding that mine eyes might be somewhat bewildered, and my mind dismayed, they could not flee away so secretly, but that I plainly saw Puccio Sciancato, and he it was whose soul of three companions which came in the beginning was not changed. The other was he whom thou, Gavil, weepest. So what's going on inside of this canto? You have the thief raising his hands and making figs with them. You have him cursing God, and you're having a snake seize upon him and wrap around him as if to shut him up. And you see that they're balking at his pride. So far, this is the most proud man in hell, the thief. All right? And so I'm actually uncertain of. Well, I'll keep that there. They even say he's more defiant, more proud than the Theban king. You have a centaur come up, which is kind of a side story, but you have the centaur's Caucasus, the one whom had wrestled with Hercules and was beaten to death. But the most interesting thing, besides all the monsters and spirits and the centaurs and whatnot, is this thief. Because as the serpents intertwine with him, they meld. There's this giving and taking, this wrestling between the monster, the snake, and the person. They're fusing together. Each one of them is just fluctuating back and forth, rotating their forms. The man takes the form of the snake takes the form of the man takes back the form of the man from the snake. So at first what looks like a that look like a victory in some cases every time they take back their original form. It's a tragedy, however, because they're losing their identity. They don't know what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. So, as Dorothy Sayers would say in the interpretation of this canto, this is aptly fit of a punishment. This is a just punishment for the thief. The thief in life on earth had a problem making the distinction between mine and yours. And so in hell, the thief's very form, very shape, very body, he has a problem making the distinction between his own form and the serpent. It's the whole thing is a parody of a thief's inability to know what belongs to them and what belongs to others and when it shouldn't be taken from others.